Hi, Joe. I heard you're reaching out to Trump's Quad buddies. You know I don't like that.
I know, Mr. Jinping. I tried my best. But there's too much at stake. Plus, India and Japan are not letting you go that easy. I think it's wiser if I make nice with them, and that's what I'm doing. I've learned my lesson.
Joe, what has happened to us?
I'm sorry, Shi. It's just that Modi and Suga, they're ruining our plans.
Hi, and welcome to TFI Global, the foreign affairs and geopolitical analysis arm of the TFI Media Group. I'm your host, Shubhangi, and in this video, I'll tell you about Joe Biden learning his latest lesson. Let's begin. Joe Biden has been on a spree to undo the decisions of former President Donald Trump one by one since the very first day after becoming the President of the United States. Be it in the Middle East or the Indo-Pacific, Joe Biden has ended up appeasing the very countries which have the worst to wish on the USA, specifically Iran and China. However, now he has realized that India and Japan are two huge powerhouses and abandoning them will not leave them vulnerable, but it will only end up hurting USA's interests in the region permanently. Perhaps this is the reason why he has moved back on his earlier policy direction of offending these two countries and started working with them and towing the line of his predecessor, Donald Trump. Given the importance of the Quad in the Indo-Pacific and the realization of the US president regarding the disastrous initial foreign policy direction of appeasing China and abandoning its Indo-Pacific allies, Joe Biden has had to go the Trump way. In order to redeem himself, Biden has agreed to a meeting of the heads of the Quad. It will be a first of its sort, where US President Joe Biden, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison, and Japanese Prime Minister Yoshihide Suga will come together to discuss matters pertaining to the Indo-Pacific, and it will be held virtually. Confirmation about the meeting came from the Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison, who told a news conference that he had discussed the matter with US President Joe Biden, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and Japanese Prime Minister Yoshihide Suga in recent conversations. In response to a question from a reporter on whether he had received an invitation for the meeting, Joe Biden said, "So I am looking forward to that first gathering of the Quad leaders. It will be the first ever such gathering." The point to note here is that in the past, the foreign ministers of the four countries were involved in the Quad meetings. This time, the meeting is being held among the heads of the four countries, which is a major development. This clearly shows that the US has revamped its foreign policy vis-a-vis the Indo-Pacific. When the first foreign ministers of the Quad met under the Biden administration in February itself, the foreign ministers of the other three countries had a very strong message for US Secretary of State Antony Blinken. The message was that if the USA abandons its role as part of the Quad, the Indian and Japanese governments are capable enough to create an anti-China front minus the USA. Their point is further strengthened given the inclination of countries like France, the UK, Germany, and Russia to maintain a free and open Indo-Pacific and in a way are willing to contain the ever-growing overbearing of the Chinese Communist Party. The effect of this message was that the Biden administration also had to emphasize free and open Indo-Pacific in its statement, retracting from the Biden administration's flawed, quote-unquote, secure and prosperous Indo-Pacific strategy. Prior to the rise of China, it was Japan whose navy was the preeminent powerhouse of the East Asia region and the larger Asia-Pacific region. On the other hand, the Indian Ocean region has largely been India's backwaters. The combined geostrategic and naval strengths of India and Japan is not to be messed with. If the USA had abandoned the Quad, India and Japan were capable enough to replace it with other willing participants. It would have made the US president and influence in the region unnecessary, and it would automatically become a huge foreign policy loss for Joe Biden. After this, Biden has not only called a meeting of the heads of Quad, but has also taken many other steps which make it clear that the US wants to strengthen its relationship with both India and Japan. According to the report, US Defense Minister Lloyd Austin will visit India this month. The journey is being organized because of the importance of India in the Indo-Pacific region, and it is the linchpin in the containment of China. Joe Biden knows that if he wants to keep the US powerful, he will also need powerful allies and thus cannot ignore India's growing influence in the Indo-Pacific region. The new US Secretary of Defense is also expected to visit other Indo-Pacific countries after he visits India. That means the next country can be Japan. The US will also hold 2+2 ministers meeting with Japan. According to a report by Asia Nikki, US Secretary of State Antony Blinken and Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin will visit Japan in mid-March to meet their Japanese counterparts. We have already mentioned in our report that both Japan and India have given a message to Joe Biden that if there is any unwillingness in the White House to counter China, then these two countries will in their own capacities look forward for the interest of the Indo-Pacific. Now, India and Japan are clearly seen sitting in the driving seat of the Quad, and in such a situation, Biden has no other option but to support these countries.